7:26. We're going to head now over for our telephone interview with Philip Rosenthal. He's the director of Christian View Network and Advocacy, and he is on the line. Good afternoon.
Hi there.
Hi, good afternoon.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Yes.
Sorry, we had some technical issues, but we thank God that we are back on the line. So, Philip, without further ado, could you kindly state or start by briefly explain the work that Christian View Network is doing and your role that you play in it?
Okay, well, I'm the director of Christian View Network, which lobbies for a Christian viewpoint and particularly promoting the sanctity of life, sanctity of marriage, God in education, and religious freedom, and also a number of other issues. But particularly we're concerned to promote the sanctity of marriage right now.
So we're talking about, the marriage bill, and just give us an overview, of the proposed marriage bill, and why has it sparked such strong reaction, especially within the faith-based community?
Okay, well, the proposed marriage bill, I think it's actually a bad name for the bill. It's undermining rather than recognizing marriage. It would firstly allow any man to take more than one wife, so that wouldn't just be for those in traditional communities that have that tradition, but anybody could do that. And secondly, it would count homosexual behaviors, so-called same-sex marriage, as in the same category as real marriage, whereas at the moment it is in a separate category of the Civil Union Bill, and that would put religious freedom further at risk. It's already been at risk, and at the moment civil servants who disagree with same-sex marriage have been persecuted and may lose their jobs if they object to that, but this would entrench the same position and put people in an even weaker position. It would also promote moral confusion, which we've already got with the promotion of this LGBT and safe sin agenda in the schools. But by normalizing these things, it would give them even more basis to do this, and also for people to sue Christians who, for example, have wedding venues or want to refuse adoption to same-sex couples. And this bill would be just making things worse.
I know there is, I think it's on the table of every religious leader at the moment, the pastors, the ministers could face legal repercussions if they decline, like you mentioned, to officiate certain marriages. Now, how does the bill address or fall short in protecting these religious freedoms?
Well, I think there's two issues. Firstly, it's got no protection for state marriage officers, for example, which would be magistrates or home affairs officials who perform same-sex marriage. But secondly, the protection for pastors would be only one line in the bill. And firstly, it's quite likely that they will try and take this out, as they have did before with the Civil Union Amendment Bill, which was passed in 2020 to take away the protection from state marriage officers. But the other thing is, at the moment, if a pastor wants to be able to do same-sex marriage, he has to opt in and choose to register in terms of the Civil Union Bill or the Civil Union Act. Whereas with this act, it was more a case that he would have to opt out and say, no, well, this is now the normal form of the law, and any minister could potentially do so-called same-sex marriage without needing to apply to be able to do it, but then he would have to opt out from that. So this reduces the level of legal protection. They say that there is protection for pastors, but I think it's a very thin protection. It's not good enough. But the other thing that we have to look at, which is already a crisis, and the government needs to be pushing in the other direction, is that in the 10 years following the legalization of so-called same-sex marriage, the marriage rate is halved, because if the government is making a joke out of marriage, then people don't see so much value in getting married, and they just shack up and have children outside of marriage. And that is what has been happening on a larger and larger scale. This is not only affecting homosexuals, this is affecting heterosexuals as well, because there is a lack of respect for marriage in our society when the government is actively undermining it.
You know, you mentioned about one of the things you mentioned was that a husband is now allowed to take additional wives with the consent of his current wife, even if they are not couples. So what risk or vulnerabilities does this pose, particularly for women in these marriages?
Well, I think the thing is that this is just not an option at the moment, and so nobody would even think about it. But if this bill was passed, that would enable any man to potentially take his girlfriend to be a second wife. And theoretically, he has to get consent from his current wife. But I cannot think what woman in her right mind would agree to that, unless she was under some sort of pressure. And women can easily be put under pressure, financial pressure. Some are under pressure with threats of violence or threat of divorce or whatever. And so the woman is always in a weaker position, and the current law of monogamy protects women, so that if they go into a marriage with the understanding that it's going to be a monogamous marriage, then they don't expect that it's one day going to turn into a polygamous marriage. Now, I don't know of any other country in the world which has done this, which is to take marriages which were meant to be between one man and one woman and change them to become polygamous marriages. If you, in South Africa, we have a condonation under the Customary Marriages Act to allow, for example, traditional Zulu marriages to take on additional wives, but it's never been in the case of marriages that are under the Marriage Act. And the same would apply, for example, in Nigeria, where you have traditional Muslim marriages are allowed to take second wives, or in India, traditional Muslim marriages can take second wives, but nobody else can do it except as part of that tradition. So this is not being done on the basis of tradition, and this is expanding polygamy into the general culture.
So looking at the global context, no other country has combined same-sex marriages, polygamy, and gender changes in one goal. What unique challenges does this pose to South African society and the Christian community? Well,
I think the thing is that, I don't know how they are going to deal with things if somebody who announces that they've changed their gender then says, well, they were born as a woman, but now they identify as a man, and now they want to take on some wives in addition to this. I don't know how the courts are going to deal with that, but theoretically that would be possible. But the thing is that what these people are really trying to do, and some of the LGBT activists have been quite open about it, is that they are seeking to destroy the definition of marriage, because they would like to just have a free-for-all, so that anybody can have a relationship with anybody else and somehow have it recognized by the state as a state-recognized relationship, which has the same privileges as marriage, or take away state support from marriage altogether. And I think they're doing this one piece at a time, and which started with the attacks on of same-sex marriage from 2003 to 2005, and this is now the next step, and they will continue with more steps to try and normalize all sorts of deviant sexual relationships as if they were the same as marriage. Now, to me, that's similar, for example, to Russia has applied to join NATO. What is the use of the NATO alliance if Russia joins it? Clearly, it would destroy the NATO alliance if they did join it. Now, we can't have people who are living in sin claiming to be married, just like the government doesn't allow people to print currency because that devalues the currency of everything else. And so we want to keep marriage special, honor marriage, and recognize that as a unique relationship, and these other things should not be recognized as marriage.
Now, we know that the bill will be open for public consultation soon, so what would you say to the listeners who want to make their voices heard?
Well, there is 4 opportunities that you have, which are on Monday the 18th and Tuesday the 19th, which is starting next week. The consultations are all going to be between 10 o'clock and 3 o'clock during the day. And there's 2 options on Monday. The one is in Pretoria CBD, Schwane House Council Chamber, and the other one is in Vosloorus Civic Center Community Hall. Then on Tuesday, there is the opportunity in Lakeside Multipurpose Hall in Midvaal, or there is you can, if it's closer to you, you can go to Mogale City Centenary Hall and pick one of those options. And the parliamentarians are going to be listening to what we have to say. And I would ask you to please go along and say, absolutely no, we do not want this. There's no purpose in this bill that's going to help anybody. And if you want more information, you can go on to Christian View Network on Facebook. So just type it in Christian View Network, one word. Or if you go onto YouTube, you type in Christian View Network, one word, and it will give you information about where the venues are and a whole lot more information about the bill.
Final words before we say goodbye?
I'd just really like to encourage you that if you value your own marriage, if you've maybe been through a bad patch and come out of that, you see the importance of protecting marriage, or if you've got aspirations to become to be married one day, just put that value on marriage and see the importance of speaking to the government to get them to put value on marriage so that they do not undermine marriages for everybody and thus degrade the sanctity of marriage in our society. So please go along, and if you want that information, go to Christian View Network on Facebook or YouTube and you will find more information.
Thank you so much, Philip. It's definitely something, and I'm glad that you mentioned if you value marriage, then please let your voice be heard. Go if you can on the 18th and the 19th of November. I will repeat the venues. I just need to confirm with Philip. You mentioned that it will be in Pretoria on the 18th, as well as at Vosloorus Community Hall, and on the 19th at Lakeside Multipurpose Center, as well as Mogale. But if they cannot make it, please go to the website or to Facebook. You will find Christian View Network's details there, and you can find how you can make your voice heard. Full of blessings. We're praying for the outcomes that our Christian people will go out there and get their voices heard.
Thanks so much.
Remember, at 1450 we have this corner, so please stay tuned to the community.